Well, good evening, everyone. It is your girl, Coach T, coming to you live here with SheSpeaks TV. I am so excited to come to you again, as we do every Monday night here at 8 p.m. Eastern. And tonight, I am really excited about my amazing guest that I have with us today. So I want you to get your tissues out. We might be jerking some tears. This beautiful vessel, my goodness, her name is Nya Matthews. My goodness, she is an amazing woman. I call her a Renaissance woman. She is the wife of NFL Super Bowl champion Eric Matthews. She is a two-time breast cancer survivor, once at 27 and again at 37. And this young lady has a story that is powerful. She has a movement that literally transcends women's lives all over the world. That's why it's called Soulful Sessions with Nya. But more importantly, she's an entrepreneur, a real estate investor, and all the things in between. So I like having women like this tonight because you're truly going to be inspired. And so tonight, we welcome you, Nya, to SheSpeaks TV. How are you doing, my love?
I am doing amazing, sister. How you doing?
10 feet tall and bulletproof some days.
Well, you're resilient.
Yes, resilient. That is the word of the year. Well, tonight I really want to jump in, and I'm excited that you get to share. I know that your life has been through a whirlwind this year. I just know with everything that's happening, and of course, I know on March 23rd, 2020, I said your accolades. I knew that you had been a double breast cancer survivor. You are spending your life serving. You're a woman of faith, which is so important to me, and I'm sure to those who are watching. But being a woman of faith, God just seems to continue to test. And on March 23rd, he sent you yet another new fight. That, girl, you came out with amazing colors. But I want you to share with our audience what happened on March 23rd, 2020. And then we'll jump in because there's so many things to unpack with your story.
Yes. Again, thank you for having me, sister. You are an amazing woman. Let me give you your flowers now. Thank you for allowing me to be a guest on this show, this international show. You have a light about you, which I immediately drew to you. So thank you for allowing me to share this platform with you, just to even tell a very small portion of my story and my testimony. So thank you for that. Yes, I want to say back in March is when I developed COVID. This is a person who has OCD. I do things by the book. I rarely got out. I already had saw the news. I saw what CDC wanted us to do and not do. And I was going by those guidelines. But that one time I decided to go to Publix, and I believe that day when I contracted COVID was from going to Publix. And I went home, and I was not having any of those symptoms that they say you would have. I only had like diarrhea, upset stomach. And then I knew like the day 2, I started to have hard times breathing. So just to be on the safe side, to appease my husband, my daughter, I called the nurse that you can call, just the 1-800 number, just to tell them how you're feeling at the hospital. And the nurse told me that I should go to the emergency room ASAP. And upon me driving there, and I was only probably about a mile away from Emory, is when I passed out in the waiting room as they were processing me. Wow. That's how fast it happened. And then when I woke up, I'm talking about ventilators. I'm talking about people around me. I couldn't see my husband was not there. Clearly with COVID, you are completely put in isolation. But immediately my health took a spin for the worst, and it was fast.
Wow.
So can you imagine waking up on a ventilator? Can you imagine, people coming in with hazmat suits? Can you imagine you not having your loved ones there? It was one of the most scary things I probably endured, worse than breast cancer, not once but twice. At least with breast cancer, you know what to expect, but COVID was the unknown. So many unknown variables, you don't know what to expect. So you're kind of like a test dummy per se, right? They're trying to figure it out while your life is on the line, while your life is in the balance. And during that, sister, I'm telling you something right now, my health was failing. Every day was getting worse. Renal failure, kidneys not functioning properly. It was all happening simultaneously. Wow. And I had the war. Remember me asking the nurse, could my husband bring my phone charger? Because my phone was dying and I did not want to lose that contact.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm already there alone, but I wanted to hear my daughter's voice. I wanted to hear my husband's voice, the prayer warriors that were called all over the world on my behalf. And they allowed my husband to drop it off with the security, and they had to work their way up to bringing it to my room. And that's how I was able to FaceTime my family while I was going through the bouts of having COVID.
You know, I woke up one morning, as I do, and as I pray at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then I get to your feed. And I'm going to try not to cry today, so we're not going to do that. But I get to your feed and I hear you singing, He's got the whole world in His hands. And I remember stuck on your page and I was like, Lord Jesus, what happened? Because, I follow and I see you moving and you do amazing movements. I got scared. I think I just DM'd you immediately like, sis, I am praying. What is going on? I remember you saying that when did God shift? Like, when did God shift you? When did you feel it? Because I remember at that moment, you suddenly became the face of coronavirus. Like, literally in the community, you became that face. And what we as women of color began to see, women, period, we saw your face and we saw your faith and we saw you singing. And then we saw a ray of light in your room. Talk about that moment, because that moment, I was sitting there like wishing, I'm around the corner from you, and I'm like, I can't get to her, but I can get on my knees and I can begin to pray.
This part always gets me choked up, only because when they say God is real, and people, they want to feel Him, they want to know. And I'm a very faith-based person, but let me just tell you, that walk alone shook my faith just a little bit, because I couldn't understand why God was putting me yet through another test. I look back and I said, I should be summa cum laude in a lot of tests these days. But on the fourth day, I felt the presence of God. I remember praying with my prayer warriors that morning when all the vitals were going down. My skin was turning dark. They said that my eyes was turning a different color. That was when death was knocking on the door. I felt it. I like when the doctors couldn't understand how I come in one way, and I was deteriorating as the day goes on. But when I asked God, I said, if you bring me through this, I promise to my life that I will continue to give you the glory. I will continue to let the world know that you exist. And during that moment, when I felt, the only way I can describe it is if He touched my hand. It's like He was holding my hand, and a warmness became all over my body. And I heard like my oxygen, I was able to breathe. Like I felt like He was just reviving my body immediately. And when I looked up, it was like in the wee hours of the morning, like the sun was coming up. And the picture that I shared on social media, the picture that I shared was the moment that it was turning around. Wow. And it was like He says, I got you. You will be a beacon. You would just because I trust that you would tell the world that I healed you. That I can trust you, my child. That's what was going on during that very moment, and that's the picture that I shared. And even those who are not faith-based felt like through the story, through my testimony, that God is real.
Man, to say that God is real is an understatement. To know Him, to trust Him. Oh my God, what a journey. And I feel you when you say, sometimes you think about, God, what more? Like you said, magna cum laude, valedictorian, and all things that God would test His children to go through. Like, eek, what more? Well, let me first say that I'm so glad to see you on this side of life. And that brings me to my next question, because I shared with you before we went live, I've just on Halloween, my daughter's godfather transitioned, and he unfortunately didn't revive. He came through the first phase of COVID and then went back into the hospital. He had complete carbon dioxide no longer was coming out of his body, complete renal failure. And on Halloween, he passed away, leaving behind 12 beautiful girls. And then, of course, and my daughter, who was his first love, which was the godparents. And so I see people now living life a little bit differently. And I know the country is going back into this shutdown mode. How are you doing life nowadays? How are you doing life different? I see you out on the boat. I see you living. And then I know when you came out of that portion, you still were in quarantine for a couple of weeks, and you had to readjust. How have you adjusted?
I've learned to enjoy the smaller things in life. Sometimes things that we take for granted at times because we're so busy, we're so on the move, we're so trying to, become a catalyst and change the world through our, through us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Through our struggles, through our testimonies. But I wanted to take this moment to really enjoy the finer things in life, meaning things that I put off because of excuses, saying no to people. I'm living unapologetically. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you think. I'm spending more time with my family. I'm giving flowers to people that are living. So many days we just let things pass and put it off. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, I'll do it Wednesday. No, I'm going to do it today, and I'm going to go fish on a Tuesday at 11 o'clock, and I don't care what anybody else has to say. I'm going to self-care. I'm going to pour back into me. I'm going to allow God to use me even through my downtime to still make a statement, to say it's okay to slow down. It's okay to rest. It's okay to not want to do anything. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to live. And that's what I'm doing. I said I wanted to buy a boat. I went and I bought a boat. I said I want to go buy some more properties. I went and I bought some more properties. I said I wanted to take 4 months off. I'm taking 4 months off unapologetically.
Yes.
I'm living my life unapologetically, sister.
I love that. And I know it's interesting because you're an advocate for self-care, right? And I don't think enough women or men, I'm dealing with women because that's our assignment in life as God's daughters. But self-care, I heard you say fishing on Tuesday. Yes, honey, fishing on Tuesday. I done been in your DM like, okay, where is that at? And is that restaurant? And girl, you done got chocolate and all that sun. And let me get that swimsuit and all the wraps that you've been wearing as well. Like just being so inspired. What else do you do to take care of Nya? I love the fact that you're living authentically, unapologetically. Is it okay to be selfish?
Yes, self-care isn't selfish though. Like it's necessary. I see looking on television and social media, everybody's hustle, 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 hustle. But if you do not create a harmony, not a balance, but a harmony, you will crash. It's like burning the candle on both ends. You got to take some time for you. You got to restore. You got to allow God to restore you, not yourself, but God, because He needs time too. And if we're cluttered in our minds, we're cluttered in our vessels, how can He download your next step? How can He download what you should be doing? How can you hear the voice of what your step should be? Like how? So I look at it as like a landing field with a plane. You're planning, in order to land, like the obstacles got to be clear on the runway. That's how I hear when God wants to tell us something. It's too much clutter. So we need to take some time to say, I've heard what was a rap song? I think it was Young Jeezy, if I'm quoting it right. He said, I hustle until I die. How does that work?
Ooh, like it doesn't.
Because when you're dead, you're dead.
Right.
You gotta take a break. You gotta renew, you gotta restore. And I think that's what COVID did. COVID put a reset on the entire nation. COVID did like a restoration on this entire nation. People who are always going are forced to be sitting down, forced to be at home, forced to sit at the table, eat with their children, forced to listen to your loved ones, forced to spend time in the home. You have no choice. I think we were forced to do this, but it was necessary so that you can hear what we're supposed to do next.
Wow. Talk about getting clarity. The Bible says, in all thy getting, get an understanding. And I often tell people, like you just said it, if you don't slow down, God has a way of sitting you down. And He will do it every single time. And so I'm just grateful. I always tell people I'm grateful that He didn't put my brakes completely out of commission. So I've learned to listen to my body when He speaks and do as He says. You are a serial author. I want to jump here. You're a serial author. You wrote a book called The Boss in You. And of course, it's what I like to refer to as a dig deep within to really uncover one's true self. And of course, with all of this, talk about that defining moment when, of course, and how you're bridging them now. But you had a defining moment when you found who Nya was, when you found out what your purpose was. and how your place in this world. One of my amazing inspirators, Larissa Barclay, always says, find your lane, stay your lane, and burn rubber in that lane. Talk about when you found your purpose, and what does that look like today?
When I wrote The Boss in You, that was still me working in corporate, me still in real estate. I'm retired now, but during that time, we all have the boss in us, right? Sometimes we learn it later in life. I was able to find it like right after my second bout with cancer. I journaled a lot. I'm a very private person, so when I really share my struggles and even my victories, when I share, it's with purpose. And so through me journaling, I created The Boss in You. This is a very old picture now, but just even during that struggle there, I was still trying to figure out, like, I thought Rome was built in one day. I thought that it all had to be done with me, or the buck stops with me. And who says that if I don't do it, it don't get done? Like, there was a lot of things that I had learned along the way to make me the person that I am today. So I had to create this book to kind of sort of just remind you that there is a boss in you. There's a calling over your life. It's up to you to, to get in a space where God, like I said, God can download that into you so you can become clear on what is your purpose? What does it look like? How long are you going to hold on to it? How long are you going to hold it hostage? How long are you going to let that stronghold hold you bound? Like, that's all of what I wanted to put into The Boss in You, kind of sort of just to give you another look on life. I mean, it's not just meant for women, even though, that's our lane, sis, but I think God is expounding even what we're doing now into another, another level. And I'm just saying, and you hear it,
girl, you can hear it. It's the Holy Spirit speaking. Man, I just got chills, and I always believe that connection right there when God speaks, when He touches, it's like, okay, God, I feel your weight. Yeah, because again,
I do. Absolutely. I just a whole other platform. It's so easy to do what comes natural to us, right?
Yeah.
But when you want to go to the next level of how do I get there, and I feel like when I wrote The Boss in You, it's kind of redefining. But when I wrote that Soulful Sessions, which I know we'll talk about in a minute, that's a whole nother level, baby. That's God putting that super on that natural.
Yeah.
And I was being very obedient when I wrote that book.
Let me see. So it's interesting. I have a friend, and I know she's watching, and I feel like I'm like you. I hear the Spirit. She's just went through breast cancer, and I have been talking to her about understanding her purpose, going a little bit deeper. She just went through breast cancer. I know she's not going to mind me telling her story. She had a double mastectomy, and then she went back and had a hysterectomy, and then one by one, God just like literally, I watched her go to the brink. And then I just kind of went out there and just kind of grabbed her and pull her back. And now I see her glowing, operating in a whole different purpose. I see her now, literally, she has forced herself to become an entrepreneur, to boss up in the midst of her adversity when she thought she was going to lose everything. What advice would you give her and the nations, as I say, about getting connected to your inner you, like getting connected to that inner purpose? Because it's scary. It's scary when you're out there on that island and that lane and you're like, God, you sure? Now you told me to walk. I just want to make sure I heard you right. You wanted me to go left and then make a sharp left turn and then walk down here. And don't worry about how it's all gonna manifest, God. Just trust you, right? This is what you said. And you're like this. Okay, we're going. What advice can you give? Because you've been through breast cancer twice. And girl, you are glowing twice and survived it both times.
Yeah, again, it's like learning how to. I'm still doing that. Learning how to be whole, learning how to be vulnerable. That's one thing us strong women tend not to want to do. We want to be strong, and we carry this exterior of being, resilient, even though we are, but at the same time to be vulnerable, to allow God in, and to let your Father be the captain. I remember a bumper a long time ago says, God is the co-captain or something like that. I'm like, he's the captain. I'm the co-captain, right? Because wherever he leads me, I'm going. And so it's being connected, listening to your inner, people call it, whatever you call it, listening and being tapped into that, finding that space that to remember that whatever is being told to you, that is coming from the right person, right? Because the enemy wants to kill, steal, and destroy. So you got to be careful not to be hearing that. You got to use your discernment into who you allow into your space, what you allow to go into your soul and your spirit, your eye gates, your ear gates, what you speak out, who you listen to. All of that is being tapped into the right thing. So having that, circle of influence is key. That's how you and I connected. There was a spirit about you. We even talked about God. We were like 5-10 minutes into our piano, and we were talking about it because we were connected by the Holy Spirit, but discernment showed us that. Mm-hmm. So when you're in a space like that, to receive that, baby, let that be your God. Yes. Let that be your God.
Yes, and amen. I love that. Now, you wrote another book. You wrote a book called 21 Days to Elevate, which enables women who are willing to do the work. That's the operative piece right there. You've got to be willing to do the work. And I think we misunderstand that. We think we do work just for a certain season, but work is an ongoing journey. And so this book, it helps you. You talked about this book and how it helps you to chart out life's path to true life success. Talk about that.
I wrote this book in 3 days, right?
Oh, wow.
3 days. I fasted for 7, and then I got it from my MacBook, and I was just typing, and it was just flowing. Wow. Remember, I talked about the landing plane. Mm-hmm. It has to be clutter-free. He spoke, I typed. He spoke, I typed. 3 days, I knew this book was going to be one of those books that you got to do the work, though, right? Mm-hmm. Faith without work is dead. You know this. We got to do the work. We got to work it. For us to see the other side of it, the victories on the other side of it. But when writing the devotional, it's a mind, body, and soul connection. You can't do it one way here and not do one way here. It's like all together. I talk about the harmony all the time. I know with world we always say work-life balance, but it has to be a harmony. Your soul and spirit, like it all has to go together. And so when I wrote Soulful Sessions, I wanted you, I don't know if you remember the Daily Bread growing up.
Yes.
It used to be in everybody's bathroom, church bathroom. I wanted to do a modern day version of that. Okay. Where you go to it and you just not read, a passage of scripture affirmation. You get a chance to write in it. And then you reflect on what you wrote and use that as a journal or, a catalyst for you to you share your innermost thoughts, your strengths, your weaknesses, and what's next to come. So that's what I put all into that one little devotional. I put 21 days because it takes, 21 days of anything becomes a habit. So I want us to develop a new habit of the way we think, the way we move, the way we meditate, the way we speak, the way we think, all of that. That's the reason why I made it 21 days.
Wow. So Soulful Sessions. I get excited because every time I see it, I'm like, ooh, like when pre-COVID, I saw that movement. I saw the photos, I saw the cabin, I saw the women, I saw the testimony. Let's talk about that movement. How did you birth Soulful Sessions with Nya?
I remember being in my car and I said I was tired of real estate. This is a person that's been doing it since 1995. Wow. And I was exhausted. The money is great. That feeds into, we were able to do, it allows you to do more things. But God says, I want you to go another route. And I'm like, huh? I'm going to make the same amount of money, right? That's really, and he's like, I want you to go in another direction. And it's going to require complete obedience. It's going to be you're going to have to not hang around who you used to hang around. So we're going to do a purge. And I'm like, what do you mean? Because I'm very devoted friend. Like I'm very loyal to you might ride or die. I'm going to be your ride or die, right?
Right.
So he said, I want your phone to go dry for 30 days. And I was like, what? He says, 30 days, I want you to see who checks in on you versus you checking in on them. I'm like, oh, I know my phone is dry. I know that, my girls got me, right? Phone was dry. Those who I thought was going to show up didn't show up. So what that did was it allowed me to do a purge so that I knew who was going to be in my life during this season of development of Soulful Sessions. So I left real estate altogether. I retired and I literally allowed God to guide my steps. He says, you're going to take the women to the mountaintop. Mm-hmm. You're going to feed them. You're going to pour into the mind, body, and soul. Ooh. And then you're going to let them go on their very way. And while they're there, deliverance is going to take place. And he kept using the word midwife. I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, I'm nobody's prophet. Not like, what do you mean? I don't understand. I'm just trying to, take the woman to the mountaintop and kumbaya. He said, no, it's bigger than that. It's going to be bigger than that. But I need you to trust me. So I did my first Soulful Sessions. And sis, let me just tell you this. We've sold out in 30 days of each one I've ever done for the past 3-4 years. That's how amazing it's been. You come in one way on Friday, Sunday, half of them can't talk. They're crying, deliverance, testimonies, the shackles come off, the strongholds come off, the you name it. Deliverance takes place at the mountaintop. I don't know what it is, but God put the super on it. And then what he did was he started bringing in a team of speakers and people with like minds, and was there for the souls of women to come in there and to pour into your business, to pour into you on your spirit side. We do life coaching sessions. We do meditation and stretching. We eat good. We cry. All happens in 3 days. Your life will be changed.
Wow. So given COVID, how are you doing Soulful Sessions? Are you bringing it back anytime soon? Because girl, I need a seat at the table. Like I want to just be one of the girls in there getting restored. I just believe that.
I thought during COVID that God was going to have me do things virtually, right? Because that's where everybody is. We're doing things virtually. And he did not give me the green light. He wanted me to sit still. So I still have my tribe of Soulful Session women. We're still engaged. And it's ironic that during this interview, before our interview, I typed, what if I was to do a intimate Soulful Sessions girls, ladies night out with, of course, COVID tests being negative, results being negative.
Right.
I'm telling you, the women they're like, please sign me up, interested, me. So I know it's going to be sold out. If we decide to go and get a cabin or Airbnb, a hotel room, we're going to keep it intimate, but the women need it.
Yes.
Especially now than ever. Like they need an outlet. They need somebody to just let them know that it's going to be okay. So a sister to hold their hand. And that's all they want. That's all they want. Some authentic women of God, some authentic women who really cares about their mind and their bodies and their souls, to just say, sis, I got you, and hold their hand. That's all they want.
Wow.
And so I think 2021 is going to be the month that we do it. January 2021.
Dope. Okay. Well, definitely we'll make sure we connect. Talk about what inspires you. Besides, I know God is all things. He is definitely the captain of the ship. But what inspires Nya?
It's to see people win, to see people walk in their true purpose, to see people happy. It gives me joy. I don't have an envious bone in my body. It's like, to see you win, I win. And it hurts me when I see people not tapping into what it is that they really have for their life. They only see, it's like God gives you like a glimpse of what's to come. When I see people and I touch you or hold your hand or I look in your eyes, it's like I see more. And I just want them to see what I see. And so I get gratification to my core when I'm looking on my social media and I'm like, sis, you did that. When I see people doing great things, even during this time, I get excited in my belly because I want us to win. And not on my watch will you not win. Like, you come in our in our circle, sis, we're going to build you up to the sky. Like, that's what we're going to do.
Yes.
That's what I do. I just want to see us win.
Dope. So I know that you're an entrepreneur, consummate. I know that you're in the travel space. Love, love, love. Tell me, how are you, first of all, went and bought a boat. You and your twin flame over there, you know who I'm talking about. You all make travel so daggone sexy, and I love it. You make living life, even in the midst of a pandemic, amazing. How that business, how is it doing? How can people get engaged in that and connect with you? Because I see you just diversifying yourself, and you have found a way to intertwine everything that you love through different channels. So how do people connect with you? How is that going and growing for you? Because I definitely want to give you a shout out on that piece.
That is definitely new to me. I'm going to just be honest. Network marketing was something I've never done. I reached out to you because you're a beast with it. Like, with everything you put your hands in. And so I think that's another reason why I drew to your light, is you have that same tenacity and spirit inside of you to just, we're going to go hard and go home with it.
That part.
but I'm the kind of person never leaves money on the table. I cut the middleman out. So
Mm-hmm.
when he says that he's going to expand Soulful Sessions, we took 65 women to the Bahamas. I'm like, well, you know, who we going to go through? Because if I'm a travel agent, we're going through me.
Right.
So I
Right.
just I tapped into that for that because I just saw an expansion of Soulful Sessions, and
Mm-hmm.
with being in the travel business, I just felt like it made sense for it to be through my corporation, through Soulful Sessions LLC. So
Mm-hmm.
it's going amazing. I am a what is it? A one star director. I'm sorry, a director in training now
Yes.
in this in teletravel. So it's been amazing. And my best friend is
Yes.
the second top earner. I mean, she's a millionaire, and she's 35 years old.
Oh.
So I have nothing but bosses around me, and I think when you have that around you, it kind of iron sharpens iron. So we
Mm-hmm.
get it. And so I'm doing very well. So if they want to connect Soulful Sessions with Nya.com is where everything is that I'm doing. Speaking, Soulful Sessions, the books, whatever, coach, mentoring, life coaching, whatever you need. Soulful Sessions with Nya.com is the platform for that.
I love that. And for those of you who know me, I love the direct sales space. And so I've always said that the best business to put yourself in, especially as a home-based business, is a travel business. So you heard it, Soulful Sessions with Nya. You definitely want to connect and plug in with her, obviously doing some amazing things. Talk about habits. What habits, Nya, do you value the most? What habits do you, like, literally you must live by on a daily basis?
I believe in I command my day. And that's I speak on what my day is going to be like. It's death and life is in the power of your tongue, and so I intentionally command my day. I don't allow a person to call me and make me in their mood. You're going to get this light. That's how I do it. And as I'm old, I'm much older now. People would I'm not even I'm close to 50. Let me just
Girl,
put
bye.
that out there. Yeah. So when you get older, you wake up early. And it's 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning. First thing I'm doing is I'm commending my day. I'm putting a prayer out for the world. That's the first thing. If you don't see a prayer coming from me on any of my platforms, you say, "What's wrong with Nya?"
Right.
So it's my job to put out my light into the world. So that's the first thing that I do. And I'm a woman of habit,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm very intentional. So I don't waste days, sis. Like if you're gonna come in my space, I don't waste time and I don't waste days. So important, very important to command your day.
I love that. What are some of your favorite affirmations?
I'm a scripture based baby. I'm a,
Well, bring it on,
I'm
bring it on. Thus saith the Lord, honey.
but I remember one of my favorite things Oprah says all the time is we all have a supreme destiny over our life, and it's our job to know it, to feel it, and to be it. And when you're intentional with that, the sky's the limit. The sky is the limit. So that's probably one of my favorites outside of a scripture. We can go scripture neck and neck all day, but that's one of my favorite sayings for sure.
You know, you do. I watch you, like I said, I watch you do so much, and I see you're you and your husband spend a lot of time together, which just gives me so much inspiration when it comes to Black love and marriage. And of course, I will never pretend that the road has been easy, and the word balance is such an overrated word. How do you strike a balance? You have a beautiful daughter. You and your husband is retired NFL. How do you all strike a balance? How do you keep your relationship thriving? Yes, I'm a little bit nosy right now.
Let me just say a disclosure. Me and my husband found each other on Facebook.
Wow.
Um, oh yeah,
People still do
he
that?
will.
Oh,
Oh yeah, do the DM. And for years, I said that I was married once before, very young, and I said I wanted to do everything completely opposite of what I did with my past relationships, and I did. So my husband and I, he courted me, literally old school courted me, and it took about 6 to 8 months before our very first date. So we did the whole texting and instant messaging, and he chased me. He was like old school chased, and he wanted to chase. He said that in his football career, people always just, want to give, and it was easy for them to get everybody. He said, but I was a tough cookie. I made it hard for him, and he liked that chase. And so I told him the measure that he used to get me is the measures he should use to keep me. And
mm,
he uses that. And I also prayed for a God-fearing man. So my husband beats me on his knees. Like he on the floor praying before I get there. And that's another thing that turns me on is
Wow.
his faith, his wanting to lead, but not lead just because he makes money, but lead because of he seeks God first. I can follow a person that seeks the direction of God. When you do that, oh, you real sexy, baby. You can get it. But I'm just saying, like, I could follow a person like that who seeks counsel through God. And when he does that, it makes it easy. And so he matches my hustle. He matches my fly. And he's a yin to my yang.
Oh. So, any marriage advice out there for our lovely married couples?
Oh man, learn your love language. Like
Ooh.
seriously. Uh, we hosted a couples retreat last year in Tennessee. And that was our very first one, my husband and I. And we talked about love language. It's so key. I know people just think that because you're around a person, you know them, but how do they react to certain things in life? Like you got to catch them when they're sad. You got to know how they're going to act when they're mad, they're sad, they're broke, all of that. Learn that. Listen to that. Watch that. Communicate with that. Me and my husband, we are very keen on pillow talk. Oftentimes, our Black men go through so much. So to come home, you don't want to be that, I call it nagging, right? Like to be that nagging wife. I allow him to take a shower and let the world, get off him and let him decompress. And when he lays in the bed and I lay my head on his chest, then we talk about the matters of our heart. And I listen to him and he listened to me. And then through there is when we find a compromise, or through there we're able to really figure out what each other want or what we need. And so that's key for our marriage. And I think that if you really learn your love language and learn how to listen, it will take you a very long way in a relationship.
And you're a mom. I want you guys know she's a mom. Talk about that. You have a beautiful daughter. How do you keep that bridging? It's fun. I'm an empty nester now, and I'm always like, every time I see my daughter, like I purposely just show up to her little places where she works just so I can get my in time with her. I'll come in and, she's a hookah girl and I'm the mom that overtips just so that I can be there in the building. And she's 22 going on 23. So as a mom, it's like hard to let go and let them go and be. How are things?
Yeah.
How do you keep that going with
we
you got going on and your daughter?
Yes, we're empty nesters too. My daughter will be 22 next month. And so she's in her last year of college. And she didn't go too far. She went to Georgia Southern. She's a biology major, but a lot of people don't know, unless you go to my social media, that my daughter has a very rare genetic disorder. It's called growth hormone deficiency. So when you see her, you immediately think that she's about 8 or 10, but she's actually 21.
Yeah.
And so her whole life, she's endured challenges with that. But she's like my little giant, because inside of her, she's small in stature, but she's a giant at heart. And she walks with that, like I said, resilience. She doesn't let that stop her. So to watch her grow up and to be this amazing human being, I'm like, God, I got this right. This is a person who didn't want kids, okay? I was just not going to have kids. I was going to be the boss, real estate till I died, no kids.
Yes.
But God, he gave me this kid, and she's a superstar. And I just watch her, and like I said, she's going to graduate in May from college. She's going back for her master's, but I couldn't be more proud, because she's that one thing I got right. If I know people can say I did other things right, but that's the one thing that God put that stamp on. He's like, girl, you did that. And I'm like, okay,
that's
yes,
your twin too. That's your little mini me. That's that twin right there. What are you reading right now for personal development?
There's this book I read. It's called Step Up and Shine, and that's by what's her name? Africa Miranda. I love this book. Matter of fact, let me just show you what it looks like.
No problem.
I know I'm so extra, but anyway,
okay.
It's called Step Up and Shine. She's amazing. She's amazing, mind, body, and soul. She gets it. And she's speaking to my heart right now about allowing your light, your light to shine and transform. And I'm all about self-help and self-development and how to be bigger. And because God has taken this platform higher, you just mark my words. I'm saying this tonight to you. He's expanding the platform.
Yeah.
And so any way that we could, to enhance that, let's just plug into all the wisdom and the knowledge and collaborations that we could do to take it to that next level. So that's what I'm reading right now.
I'm all the way in. I tell people I'm sold out when it comes to it. It's funny you said that because I've been hearing God say nations. And I'm like, okay, God, we're going to the nations. And he's, yeah. And so everything I've had to do is to set myself up so that I can grow, so that the nations automatically reach out. And you said you want to make God laugh. Tell him your plans. Tell him what you're going to do, and watch him get tickled and rearrange that thing. And so She Speaks, although it's symbolic of women, it's not just encompassing of women. So when you say expanding the platform, man, oh man, I'm like, God, you sure you got men that's gonna listen? You got some men that's gonna hear your daughters?
It's so easy for women to talk, right? We pour into each other. We can get on the sofa, we can cry the ugly tears, and we make each other feel better. But a lot of times men tend to hold all of that emotion. And I keep hearing men say, do you have men retreats? Who's speaking to us? Can they let their hair down? Can they be vulnerable for a moment without judgment? And so we need that avenue. I was thinking that there was going to be many other men stand up to this platform, but I have not yet to see it. So that means that oftentimes when you see something, a problem, or we got a solution for it. And it's been really, really tugging at my heartstrings that we need to do something. So that's been my prayer, strategically send the intercessors out there, the women of God out there, the women with influence out there to help the men so we can bridge the gap for our families. Because it's going to take that to help that,
I'm just going to put that out there because She Speaks, it's called The Resurgence, is coming back in January and July of 2021. And it's ironic that God has been putting men in my path, men with stories, and men from all walks. Like I tell people, I got a little gangster in me. I like a little trap music, I listen to a little rap, but I connect with them. And I've been really hearing some stories, and I'm like, man, I call it the male perspective. So I feel like that's the angle I'm able to go we can go is to call it the male perspective, because men are leading our families, right? They're leading, they're the kings, they're leading our families, they're leading our communities, and we really need to put the men back, help the men get back to their rightful places. I've seen so many of them emasculated. And we really they need to be, like you said, most of them don't have hair, but the ones that got the locks, they let that down. But no, we literally help them to let their hair down. I'm excited about that. So what's next, Nya? What can we look forward to in 2021? I hear Soulful Sessions is coming back. Can you just DM me so I can give you my credit card now? Because it will sell out in a blink, because people are thirsty and they're hungry, and we're getting ready to go back into another lockdown. So I hear, so people are going to be really fatigued mentally, and we're vessels to be able to restore them. So what's next?
Right. I have a planner coming out. I think that we're getting ready for 2021, and I'm all about having all the tools that you need in place to live your best life, to walk into your purpose. And so I have collaborated with 13th and Joan. They helped me bring Soulful Sessions, the devotional, to life. So we partnered up again to do a wonderful planner illustration. It's going to be so dope. It's going to be so me, that we're going to have available. Hopefully we get it together by Black Friday.
Yes.
That's the whole goal.
Yes.
So that's going to be for now, but 2021, January, we're bringing Soulful Sessions retreats back. I just keep hearing God is saying that he's going to expand this territory. So it's not just women. It's going to be for men. It's going to be for families. It's going to be for mothers and daughters. It's going to be for fathers and sons. I hear my husband's coming into the fold. I don't know how that's going to look, but I'm just going to allow God to just finish downloading all the necessary steps and people that he needs in place to bring this to fruition. So stay tuned.
I'm loving it. What are your words to live by? Final remarks, words to live by.
To live your life unapologetically. I think that's the flow that I'm in right now. That's the space that I'm in right now. Living your life unapologetically, and take the titles off. Like, take this mentality, it all has to get done in one day, when it doesn't. Rome wasn't built in one day. Take your time. Take your time, find your pace, find your lanes, find your path. Stay connected, like mind, body, and soul. I protect your mind, your eye gates, your ear gates. Like that's the path that I'm on. I just can't just put it down into just one line. It's just all of that.
Mm-hmm.
All of that is imperative in order to live your best life, your true life, your authentic life. If you do that, I promise you, I hear new levels are, new levels, new doors are opening. Stay true, stay connected to God, like all of that. Find your spiritual platform, stay there, like get that foundation strong. So when things come your way, you can handle it. Keep your hands on the plow. Don't look left. Don't look right. Stay focused. Like that's all of that, sis. Like all of that. I hope people are writing it down because this is so true right now in this time and age. Like we are just going, 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 going. But you got to learn how to slow down and take it on.
You know, one of the things that I often hear, and I heard it from a woman that I worked with for several years, she would always say, give yourself grace. And I think a lot of times, give yourself grace because, you know, again, a lot of times we as women, we put all these pressures on ourselves. I'm infamous for it. Like, if I don't get it done by this date, then God knows I must be distracted. I must be failure. What do I need to do? How do I get myself back on track? How do I accomplish the goal? And I think one of the things that people really need to understand is it's okay to fail your way forward because failure is truly such a vehement part of success. Actually, they require each other. And it's okay to regroup. If I look at what COVID has done in this season for a lot of people, is it has forced all of us to take a step back and really regroup, recharge our batteries, understand what our priorities are, and see where it is we need to go. And do yourself a favor. Please do not compete, right? Don't you compete with yourself, the woman or the man in the mirror, but understand that at the end of the day, when you wake up, you have to be accountable for you, right? I know you are a wife, you're a Renaissance woman, you're an author, but at the end of the day, when it boils down to it, it's you and God. It's Nya and God, not Nya and Eric, and not Nya and her princess. It is Nya and God, downloading and doing the part. And if, like you said, you slow down to speed up, because I think people often think that, God, if I slow down, I'm going to miss something. No.
Right.
Sometimes you just got to be still. And I think you have mastered, Queen Bee, you have mastered the art of getting still, getting before God, and trusting Him on this journey. How do we, I can't say thank you. Like you have just in these matter of minutes here, like I don't even want to let you go, but you have just literally, I'm so grateful to just have a chance to talk to you because the last time I was in front of you, we were sitting having breakfast in your building. And even then, you don't know it, but you were forcing a level of accountability upon my spirit. And I talked about what the journey has been for the last 2.5 years, and I'm so grateful that we connected. How do people get in touch with you? I know you said Soulful Sessions. Is that soulfulsessions.com?
Yeah, soulfulsessionswithnya.com. I do offer mentoring. I'm doing that. I mentored probably 20 women over the course of the last 30 days. And so that's one way to be connected. If you can't get to the retreat due to COVID, we can still do the mentoring together. We can do the life coaching together. You'll be more intimate, more one-on-one with me. But connect with soulfulsessionswithnya.com for all your soulful session needs. And then that's how you plug into me.
Can I tap you for really quickly? You talked about mentoring and coaching. Can you explain to the audience why I really feel like everybody needs a coach and everybody needs a mentor of some caliber, if not for accountability, but people often are getting, a lot of people find themselves stuck right now, especially we have over 8 million people, if not more, who are currently without jobs, who are out here. Some people have just kind of given up quietly and retreated. And what is coaching and why is it so important? I just want to him on that because I feel like people need to understand you need a coach in this season, period.
Absolutely. And sometimes people think that, like you said, it's more than just an accountability partner. It's just also having a person to pour back into you, just to give you reassurance of who you are. Sometimes we do get lost with life and pandemics and relationships and divorce and death, but you have someone to just reassure you that it's going to be okay. And these are some steps that we could take together, or these are some tools that you could use. Here are some resources, whatever we need to get you to the end goal. I just love, because it's a form of ministry for me.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people who come, they don't think that they're going to get little Jesus. You're going to get it one way or another. And he's such a gentleman, so he knows how to develop it just for that person. So that's why they keep coming back, because it's a connection. It's a relationship. And when we do an intake, we're going to immediately know if we fit each other's needs or not. I've declined, and some declined me. Just, it has to fit. So once you find that true fit, that's the person that's going to rah you to death. I mean, I'm that one that's going to cheer you on and tell you there's nothing you cannot do. I'm going to tell you need to sit down. I'm going to tell you, it's all of that. It's raw, honest truth, but it's going to be for your betterment. So that's how imperative. It's foot on the neck, but in a gentle way.
You gentle with a foot on the neck, nice. That's a gentle way.
We all need it, right? We do sometimes.
Absolutely. Well, again, I want to say thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen around the world. Definitely go to soulfoodsessions.com. Connect. Is it Nya Matthews on Instagram?
It is.
Awesome. Definitely. You can find this Gentle Soul on Instagram. My goodness, she has an amazing story, and I can't wait for the planner to come out. We're looking for it on Black Friday. But more importantly, it's time to get connected. It's time to recharge your battery. And I want to say thank you for giving me some time today and spending some time with us here at SheSpeaks TV and Caribbean Life TV for sure. Help who's behind the scenes and helps make all of this happen. So thank you so much, my love. I so appreciate you, and I look forward to what 2021 is going to bring to the fourfold.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be on your platform. God bless and be well.
Yes, ma'am. Well, guys, as always, we will be back here next Monday with another amazing guest. Join us at 8 p.m. Eastern. My name is Chinaza, Coach Chi, and as always, I will see you at the top because the bottom is just too crowded. And if you can remember one thing today from our beautiful guest, Nya Matthews, that is to live your best life unapologetically and authentically. Have a good night, everybody. Yeah.